will fan out across, but so far, very good for this 39-car field.
So far, so good, absolutely. And the yellow flag does fly as we head down into the 3. So it looks like the car's slowing down there a little bit. I wonder if we've had an incident somewhere else. Still looks to be green, but everyone's shuffling through as they come into 3. I'm not sure that it does look like they're re-accelerating, so we're
looks like just a local yellow.
Just a local yellow, and perhaps a couple shuffling all around. Louis Schreiber back to 3rd place. Looks like a few others really tussling it out there, and Mike Anzaldi comes through in the 61. So drivers again side by side as they make their way around this track for the first time. Suelo Almeida lunging down the inside, a fantastic move for him. And that looks like that was on Matt Roma. So not for class position, but nevertheless, Suelo Almeida making moves as they start lap 2.
And it looks like Jordan Missig has gotten ahead of Wayne Williams out on the front of that field to take over the top spot at the front of the field. Wayne Williams still leading the Platinum category, but Jordan Missig in the Pro 1500 is now out front.
You can see the cars bucking around. That was the car 8 of Scott Wagner. Had a chat to him this morning, and he says he's living out his dreams. He grew up in Toronto, absolutely loved the fact that he could take the start of this race yesterday. He's living out his childhood dreams racing on the streets of Toronto.
Looks like we had a brief incident with a couple of cars that spun, and that was the reason that everyone kind of checked up earlier on. Here's another look back from corner number 8. We have a little spin further back. This is corner 8. It's interesting. That's some of the new asphalt that had been put down in advance of this weekend.
That's Dan Earl in the 39.
And it looks like, I don't know if he had contact or just jumped on the brakes too hard, but spun around and seems to have gotten pointed in the right direction once again.
So the order has calmed down a little bit. The 77 comes through, and of course, Kenny Reedman in the 42 is racy as well in the Canada Cup, but we just got a glimpse there of the 77, and look out too for Jonathan Woolridge in car 30. Brady Clapham has been quick though.
Sorry, Wooldridge had a terrific run yesterday, starting a little bit further back in the pack, rejoining the series this weekend in the Radical Cup Canada for a one-off event, but charged his way forward all the way up to 2nd spot in the Radical Cup Canada program.
And amazingly, the timing charts, so Jordan Missig as fastest. Wayne Williams leading the Platinum class. Chip Roma is doing the business as well. Kevin Poitras, and there's a huge gaggle of cars, it looks like, behind the 15 of Nick D'Orlando. Scott Wagner's in the thick of that too. Matt Roma, Evan Slater, Austin Riley.
Everyone behaving so far, getting themselves sorted out as we're through the first 4 minutes. Did have that one spin as we're heading into corner number 8 with Daniel Earl, but other than that, we've been pretty smooth off the start. Had a little bit of a bunch up through corner number 1, but Jordan Missig out in front in the Pro 1500. Wayne Williams leads the Platinum.
And not only that, Jordan Missig's out in front of this field completely. So the 48, and that's why I was just checking myself, because a Pro 1500 car is in the lead of this class and this series outright. Unbelievable business from Jordan Missig. He was so quick yesterday, really dominated qualifying, and then in race 1 as well, certainly in the Pro 1500 class, now is the star of the field, leading this motor race outright from Wayne Williams, Chip Roma, John Field, Kevin Poitras, Louis Schreiber.
Jordan Missig is serious about fighting for this championship with the jump out in front of this field to lead ahead of Wayne Williams in the 57, Chip Romer in the 5 car, also in the Platinum category, 3rd out front of the field.
Jordan had edged back closer to his championship rival, D'Orlando, and now more side-by-side action, and I think that was Austin Riley. You've got to be a little bit careful because there was a car change, and there's 2 Austin Riley cars, or there's an ex-Austin Riley car out there as well as the current Austin Riley car. So we've got to be a little bit careful if you're following along with Racing with Autism and Austin Riley. but he is down in 11th on the track at the moment, and there he is, just behind car 8 of Scott Wagner, and trying to have a look as Wagner just stretches his legs a little bit in that Platinum class car. But D'Orlando just 4 points ahead going into this one from Jordan Missig. So that's the battle to watch as Mike Anzaldi locks a brake. Coming down into turn 3, and Anzaldi hustling hard. I think he's behind, that would be one of the Steve Cameron racing cars, so Radical Northwest. And I think that might be further back in the pack. So Mike Anzaldi behind Arul Venkatesh. They were lying astern as the race started, and still that way right now.
Have to commend these Radical drivers once again for how they have conducted themselves here on the streets of Toronto. A terrific race yesterday. We had another car to the mix today to go to 39, but still a little action, plenty of action throughout the field, all 5 different categories as well, but very hard charging racing, but very clean racing that we have seen all weekend so far.
Absolutely. These times keep tumbling. John Field has just done a 1:13.6. I think that's the fastest lap of the weekend so far. Obviously, the streets of Toronto rubbering up, and John Field getting the most out of the Hankook tyres. The American cars running on Hankooks, the Canadians running on Michelins. So 2 different types of tyre out there. But so far, so good for all classes. And just looking down the order, it is still Kenny Reedman who leads Radical Cup Canada from Brady Clapham. And Brady said to Kenny yesterday after the podium, "I'm coming for you." And no doubt he is today in the Radical Cup Canada Masters class. It's still Tim Sanderson from Robert Burgess. John Hughes sitting 4th in that class. Looks like Jonathan Woolridge has started to carve his way up through. Owen Clark now sits 4th, but Travis Hill's made a tremendous move up from his relatively low spot on the grid. And Travis Hill on, we've just seen a big lock up there. I think that was Kenny Reedman trying to make a move around one of the back markers.
Woolridge is less than a second behind Kenny Reedman, and Travis Hill is less than a second behind Jonathan Woolridge. Those 3 found each other out on the track yesterday and waged a good battle in the Radical Cup Canada, and looks like they have found each other once again just 8 minutes into this race. And we'll see if they can shuffle the order or whether it's going to come out the same as it did yesterday. But a terrific battle between those 2. And as you mentioned, Travis Hill and Jonathan Woolridge with a good charge.
You can see there Brady Clapham just coming through on the 77 machine, and Travis Hill is right behind him. Travis Hill from Tooth Autosport looking pretty racy, and I think the 77 is going to have his hands full. There's certainly a battle just ahead of them too. So head down into turn 3. Side by side again, great action. That's Mayo Dion Areen to the inside, and he's ahead now of Spencer Schmidt. Spencer Schmidt getting all out of shape. Chris McMurray in the O2 right in the thick of things too. And Jack Yang as well. So leaders, or certainly the... And Jack Yang taking a massive amount of curb. Wouldn't be surprised if he just clobbered the inside of the wall there on the apex of that corner. Looks like Dion Areen's just been released a little bit. Now the 70 Clapham's right on the back of that battle as well. And you can see there the 22 of Travis Hill closing in. Side by side, a little bit of a hip and shoulder, a bit of a break lock up there from Spencer Schmidt. And Chris McMurray moving over in the O2, just trying to cover off Jack Yang. All sorts of action throughout this field.
And we're getting into the point now, 10 minutes into this race, where, as you mentioned, there is the navigating of traffic from the different classes of cars, whether it's the 1340s and the pros or the platinum 1500s. It's the different classes of cars will have different performance. So this is sports car racing. You're going to have to navigate traffic through, and that's what we're seeing.
Just see Jonathan Woolridge coming through the center of screen there in that stunning orange car. He's right behind Mike Anzaldi, who leads quite a train of cars. Seth Bacon in the red 333 car making amends for yesterday's race. Just ahead of him, Arul Venkatesh behind the leader in the Masters class. That's Tim Sanderson in the 07, and that's somewhat of a homage to a Martini-esque Porsche. And we've got the 99 who's clobbered the wall. There's a tyre off the 99, so that is the car all the way from British Columbia. And that's John Hughes, yeah, and you can see it looks like a car, a wheel has come off the car, but the 99 is not going to partake in this race anymore. He is near the runoff. So
whether they can get him into the runoff is going to be the tricky part. So the corner marshals have the yellow flags waving in that area. We're still green around the rest of the circuit. It's whether or not they're going to be able to retrieve that car and clear it out of the way effectively.
Be interesting to see some of the action from up the front in the Platinum class cars, because Jordan Missick is still out in command of this motor race. Wayne Williams must have John Field right nearby with Louis Schreiber. So if you're watching from around the racetrack, keep an eye on the battle right up at the front of the field. Wayne Williams with John Field, Louis Schreiber, that's the battle for the lead, and the yellow flag is out. We've also got a debris flag out. Mayo Dion Areen just closing in a little bit on Suelio Almeida.
I think we've got a replay of this incident with the 99 car heading out into corner number 8. Oh!
So it was Chip Roma who lost the rear end of the number 5, and you can see throwing his hands up in absolute frustration. But Chip Roma in the Platinum class car lost the rear end, and did he also lose his rear wheel? No, I think it was, so the caution flag has now flown.
They're not going to be able to retrieve that car without some workers out on course, so it will go to a full course caution with about 22 and a half minutes remaining in this Radical Cup North America, Radical Cup Canada joint event here on the streets of Toronto. Crews will head out and retrieve that car of John Hughes, that number 99, who's made his way from British Columbia all the way here to Toronto to race this weekend. And we'll gather the field up, and it was a frantic start with drivers jockeying for positions, and I expect we'll see that once again when we do get a chance to go back to green, hopefully fairly quickly. It should be a quick service to get that car out of the way. They should just be able to push him through into that runoff area and clear that track out.
I'm glad in a way that we can catch our breath. There is Jordan Missick in the black and green Graham Rahal performance car. He leads the field and Pro 1500. The car behind, the Dayglow yellow of Wayne Williams, the 57S is racing with Crown Concepts this weekend. He leads Platinum from John Field. Then it's Louis Schreiber. Kevin Poitras sits 5th on the racetrack, 4th in class. Nick D'Orlando sits 6th on the racetrack. He is 2nd now in Pro 1500 from Evan Slater, Matt Roma. Then we're back to Scott Wagner, Corey Nouveau, and then it's the first of our Radical Cup Canada cars, Kenny Reedman in the number 42. He leads that class. Then it's Austin Riley, Suelio Almeida. Suelio Almeida, the leader in Pro 1340, with Mayor Dion Areen, yesterday's race winner, just behind him on the racetrack. Then we're back to Spencer Schmidt, Jack Yang. Brady Clapham's right up there as well. He is 2nd in RCC, but has some work to do. If he wants to catch Kenny Reedman, there's 5 cars between himself and Kenny Reedman. So Chris McMurray sits 3rd in Pro 1340. The big news after the podium was McMurray being docked for a pass under yellow. The same was the case for Kevin Poitras. So both of those drivers who ended up on the podium have some work to do if they want to, if you like, make up for yesterday's mistake. It can be tricky around here with the walls and everything else, all the placards to make out the yellow flags, but there's really no excuses for a driver not to see those flags. And of course, we may have had another couple of passes with the full course caution coming out.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. The stewards will review all of that post-race just to make sure that everyone is situated. They'll do their best as the race goes along to make sure that everyone's situated properly and we have everyone in the right order. As we're under full course caution, safety crews are on track. They'll retrieve that 99 car. And again, it looks like it should be a fairly quick cleanup to get that car out of the way and we can get back racing.
going past the incident was car 5 of Chip Roma. There's a similar looking car, and Jim Booth, the 63, has carved his way right up through the field. Jim Booth, definitely our Sunoco hard charger for this one. There's Chip Roma just going through. And a little bit of fresh bodywork on Richard Jarosha's blue car. That's now very much a white and blue car. Austin Riley just coming through shot, and then it's the leader in Pro 1340. And that is Sim Star come Superstar in the real world, Swelio Almeida. And he leads Pro 1340 over yesterday's race winner, Mayor Dion Areen. Two young guns really making a mark in the Radical Cup series, and I suspect they're names to look out for in the future.
No question. Mayor Don Rain has been climbing the ladder rather quickly and showing what he has, that he has the potential to climb even further with the Radicals and then beyond. And it looks like we got the pace car already skating away from the field.
Speaking of making a mark, Jordan Missick, talk about a performance of car ahead of the platinum class cars. In theory, those platinum class cars with almost double the horsepower should be the ones in front. So Jordan Missick really showing off his prowess this weekend on the streets of Toronto.
And looks like he's got several platinum cars between himself and Nick D'Orlando, making D'Orlando's job even tougher to get back towards Missick to have the battle for the lead.
Unfortunately for Missick, that doesn't mean he'll get any more points. He'll only get the 5 points between first and second place. I feel like he should get a couple of bonus ones for every platinum class car that he puts between himself and his class rival. But we're just trying to get this car extracted off this circuit so that we can go back green. 17 minutes remain in the car. That's good news. The 99 is on the hook. They just need to get that car down the exit road, and hopefully we can get back underway here. Of course, for all the other drivers, they were in a great rhythm. Thinking about Jordan Missick, the likes of John Field had just gone purple with a 1:13.6, the fastest lap of anyone around this racetrack. And Louis Schreiber was right in the thick of things through. Everyone had their rhythm. They'd made amends for whatever start they'd got in a groove, and now they're just trundling behind the pace car. The worst possible feeling for a race driver.
Halfway through this 35-minute race now, with about 16 and a half minutes to go, and you're right, it's time to refocus, clean the tires off, make sure you've got a little bit of temperature in them at least. Will we get back to green the next time around? That car looks like it's just about ready to be removed. We'll get the safety vehicles back in position, and then we're getting back to green flag action. We might need one more.
Two other drivers that are impressing me at the moment. Corey Nouveau sits fourth in Pro 1500. He's having a fantastic run this weekend all the way from California. And the other superstar is Austin Riley, car 20. He's fifth in Pro 1500. This is such a seriously competitive field. And the Canadian doing a spectacular job in front of his home crowd. And if you want to go and support Austin Riley, come and check out the Radicals in the paddock. Austin Riley selling some fantastic merchandise, and you can support a young gun with a tremendous story. Of course, Swelio Almeida also down in the paddock, a great person to catch up with. Mayor Dion Areen. The Canadians are doing the business in the Radical Cup North America Series this weekend, and hopefully we'll see the lights go out on the safety car very shortly. I'm anxious to get underway again. We haven't seen this truck move on.
No,
Safety crew, it's time to get off the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get one more lap. It looks like they're sweeping up some of the debris that may have come off one of the race cars before they hauled it away, or after they'd hauled it away. So now those safety vehicles or those safety workers look to be getting back in the vehicles, and we should be able to get going green the next time they come by.
Well, what will we see on this restart? Jordan Missing is going to get swamped by Wayne Williams, that's for sure. Probably John Field as well. Louis Schreiber will be trying to tag Poitras. Could this be the game changer that Nick D'Orlando needs? That, and for that matter, Evan Slater to get back on the gearbox of Jordan Missing. This is going to be a wild restart because we're going to have the Platinum Class cars with all the extra horsepower of those turbocharged EcoBoost 4-cylinder engines against the motorcycle-derived power plants in the Pro 1500s. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've just been to get a beer, it's time to get back trackside because the action is about to happen thick and fast in the combined grid here of the M-Zone Radical Cup Canada and the Radical Cup North America. We thank McDonald's for being the presenting partner, not only of the Radical Cup North America series, but also of the live stream. If you're looking or watching from around the world, big shout out to everyone that's following these series. We've had some fantastic racing already this weekend from the Radical Series. And again, these drivers becoming superstars on the street of Toronto. Safety car is starting to lead away. What will Jordan Missing do? How is he going to keep these Platinum Class cars behind him? I think he's already gone. He's tried to accelerate away here a little bit. He's trying to get a gap because he doesn't want to get swamped down into turn one. Missing's closed back in on the pace car, but I think he's going to drop again. And Wayne Williams will be trying his best to get a good jump on John Field, who of course is a huge competitor to have in this class. With all that experience, you can't give John Field an inch, any kind of opening. We saw the racing between those two yesterday. John Field getting caught out by that bump in turn one. He went down the inside or stayed down the inside as Wayne Williams had a big lunge down the outside. It was a fantastic move for Wayne. Kevin Poitras did some great handiwork yesterday as well, and we'll look out for him. But there's some other back markers in the mix of all of these front runners, and here we are. The 48 of Jordan Missing will come to the green flag. A couple of drivers coming through pit lane, getting out of the chaos that will inevitably unfold here. The drivers ramping up. Jordan Missing's hammer down. John Field hits a wall as he comes out of the final corner and accelerates it grey to the green flag. It's green flag racing once again, and it's Wayne Williams who tries to go around the outside of Jordan Missing. Somehow Jordan Missing stays ahead of the Platinum Class drivers, and now there's a tussle between the two in front of the Platinum Class lead as they head down into three. And John Field and Wayne Williams are finally ahead of Jordan Missing. Down in the braking zone, John Field, a massive moment. He takes over the lead in this motor race and outright. So John Field, the new race leader in the Platinum Class. Jordan Missing still maintaining his stranglehold over the 1500s. But it's the 73 of Poitras just behind who had that massive moment, a big slide for him with Louis Schreiber just behind.
Just had someone go off through corner number 6, it looks like there as well, into one of the runoff areas. Can't even see that car, but the yellow flag was waving. There it is up against the wall, pointed in the opposite direction. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get that car turned around. We'll wait and see as the leaders come back around to complete one more lap after this restart. Just over 11 minutes remaining in this 35-minute race as they cross the start-finish line for the first time at speed after the restart. It's John Field out in front. Wayne Williams, Jordan Missing was swallowed up by those two platinum cars, but remains ahead of Kevin Poitras and Louis Schreiber.
There's an extraordinarily large amount of traffic as the front runners are trying to navigate their way through. The bumps are playing havoc as well for these Radical Cup drivers. Austin Riley lunges down the inside. Look further back, it's 4 wide going into turn 3. Fantastic action from the Radical Cup drivers around the streets of Toronto. You can see the 61 of Mike Anzaldi really honing in on the gearbox of someone there. And again, Austin Riley just looking to the inside as a couple of drivers ahead fight their way down into turn 3. And a massive lunge. That's young gun, Mayor Dion Areen, having a fantastic move down into 3.
What a move up the inside by Mayor Dion Areen. That was a tremendous move, and there we are. We've got more cars into the outside wall.
So a yellow flag a bit further up on the racetrack, but 2 drivers stuck in the barriers, and the caution flag flies once again here. glad they kept that green as long as the race control could. But John Field leads from Wayne Williams. It's Jordan Missig who still maintains a strong lead over Nick D'Orlando and Evan Slater in Pro 1500. 13:40 from the Radical Cup Canada. It's Kenny Reedman who still leads from Brady Clapham. I think we're going to get a replay here in just a moment of what happened, some of that action. So down the inside, Mayo Dion Areen still making moves. Oh, and it was looked like the 91. And
that's Kenny Nail, the first incident where the car got turned around.
Just looked like he got a helping hand slightly from perhaps Rule Venkatesh. Of course, it's so tough for some of these drivers with the multi-class racing element, people having different strengths and weaknesses coming into some of these braking zones, not to mention the bumps that can unsettle the rear end of these high downforce cars. Everyone running slightly softer springs here this weekend, but still a lot of downforce, very stiff motor car. These are effectively open wheelers with extra bodywork. You can see some of these cars featuring center seat, and some left-hand drive and right-hand drive, but realistically, these are open-wheeler cars with a bit more bodywork. That's the fun of prototype sports cars. And
safety yeah, we've got the safety vehicles out on track. It's going to take a little time to extricate those cars from the outside of corner number 4, and we'll see if how quickly they can do that. Just over 8 minutes remaining in this 35-minute race. We should remind you that this is race 2 of 3 this weekend for the Radicals on track, Radical Cup Canada and Radical Cup North America. They will be green again tomorrow for race number 3 of the weekend at 11:45 a.m. tomorrow morning to lead us into the afternoon of action. But it's been non-stop. We had it yesterday for 35 minutes, and we've had it today so far in this event.
Some of those outstanding maneuvers from the 244 of Mayo Dion Areen have moved him back into the lead of Pro 1340. So that's fantastic news for the 244, looking to do a redo of yesterday's race and finish back on the podium. That would be 2 for 2 for young Mayer if he can maintain the lead over Suelio Almeida, who I know would also like to get a win on the streets of Toronto. Chris McMurray in the thick of things too, but it looks like he's got Spencer Schmidt between him and his title rivals. There's Mayo Dion Areen, Suelio Almeida, Chris McMurray with Spencer Schmidt just between them. So 77 pops up again on screen. Brady Clapham. So he's still got around about 5 cars between himself and Kenny Reedman. Reedman's been a class act as well.
He really has. He's shown speed at every event so far this season in the Radical Cup Canada Series and scored a victory in the opening weekend at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Looked like he was going to win race number 1, got caught up with a back marker and wound up off course and wasn't able to claim the victory. He redeemed himself the next day in race number 2, and Kenny Reedman has had himself a very good season so far, scoring runner-up finishes in the last couple of events at Calabogie Motorsport Park.
Travis Hill started back in 22nd on the grid. He had some work to do if he was going to get up and mix it up with the likes of Brady Clapham, and he's done so. Owen Clark's also had a strong run, in fact, even better one from 29th on the grid. Owen Clark now sits behind Travis Hill in 20th outright, so a fantastic run for the 55 of Owen Clark in the Radical Cup Canada Series. And not to mention Tim Sanderson really has also just been very comfortable out in the lead of the Radical Cup Masters class. He's definitely had an edge over the likes of Robert Burgess. Lana Carter's having a slightly better day. She started reasonably far down the order. She started in position 20, running a little bit lower, but at least just circulating and learning. This is a debut series or season for Alana, and What a big one to step up to the Radical Cup Canada competition. You mentioned yesterday from a dirt track star turned tarmac warrior, and I don't think there's any bigger baptism by fire than the concrete canyon that is Toronto.
No question. She had done a little bit of sports car racing as well after her dirt track introduction to motorsports, but packed herself up and moved from Western Canada to the east here in Toronto to try to further her motorsports career, and has been successful so far, and is signed up for the first season in the M Zone Radical Cup Canada. And it's about gaining experience and learning with every lap that she makes out on track. And so far today has been successful. Just about 4.5 minutes remaining in this 35-minute event. And if we get going, it will be a dash to the finish. Let's hope that we can clear out that incident and get a little bit more green flag running in.
I gotta say, I'd like to see a dash for the cash. After finishing under yellow yesterday, it'd be fantastic to get going again. I know we've got IndyCar next. Hopefully these safety crews can get the mess out of the way, because there's 4 minutes remaining on the clock. Even if we could get one more lap, what would happen? Would Wayne Williams be able to capitalise on the restart and get ahead of John Field? Would Jordan Missick fall in the clutches of Nick D'Orlando as the likes of Kevin Poitras and Louis Schreiber charge past him on that restart? Evan Slater would be looking to mix it up. He was on the podium yesterday, but he desperately wants to get a little bit further up on a higher step of the podium. Of course, Kenny Reedman has been just having a fantastic run in Radical Cup Canada, but a restart, there's always so much action that takes place. Mayo Dion Areen has got Suelio Almeida just behind him. Suelio would be kicking himself for having the 244 pass him just before that full course caution. So a lot of drivers looking to make amends, others in the field under tremendous pressure if we go green to maintain track position.
It was a very bold move by Mayor Deon Reen to retake that top spot with that bold move up the inside of corner number 3, found his way through and found his way to the front of the class, and now is circulating, and with 3 minutes left and tow trucks still on the track with those disabled vehicles out on course, I'm not sure if we are going to get back to any green flag action.
I think I'm being a little optimistic. Well, if we look back at this race, though, there has been some exceptional racing once again from both the M Zone Radical Cup Canada Series and Radical Cup North America, presented by McDonald's. I gotta say, I think there's been 2 standout passes for me. One was Mayo Dion Areen. It wasn't just one pass, it was numerous passes in quick succession, really doing the business in the 1340 class. The other one, a crucial moment.
Canada and Radical Cup North America tomorrow, but it's been outstanding action. They closed out our Friday program here at the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy Toronto. A great effort today. Unfortunately, we did not get to finish under green once again, but no shortage of action in about the 25 or 30 minutes of green flag racing that we did see, and they will be joining us again tomorrow for race number 3 of the weekend. 35 minutes of action begins at 11:45 a.m. tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, once again, it was great to be a part of the show. We're excited to bring a third race tomorrow. And for all those race fans, come down to the Radical Paddock and meet the drivers. We've got a autograph session, and that's coming up at 3 p.m. today. So autograph session at 3 p.m. in the Radical Cup Paddock. Come on down and check out these wonderful machines and meet the superstars behind the helmets.
Just looking through the rest of the unofficial results here on the streets of Toronto. Radical Cup North America, M-Zone Radical Cup Canada presented by Michelin. Back on track, as mentioned, tomorrow morning for race number 3 of the weekend, 11:45 a.m., a 35-minute race. Much more action still to come here on the streets of Toronto. We've got the NTT IndyCar Series coming up with their